You're listening to the #1 podcast for nonprofit leaders, getting your nonprofit fully funded. This is the Fundraising Masterminds Podcast.
We kind of had an emergency meeting, the three of us, and we talked about, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing wrong? And kind of went through the checklist. And I remember you, Jim, saying, it sounds like you're doing everything right. Have you taken this to prayer? And I was so convicted. I took it to prayer. I had several other people praying as well. And I think we really saw a breakthrough after that. We ended up, I think 70% of the people who were at our dinner were brand new.
Welcome back to another episode here at the Fundraising Masterminds Podcast. My name is Jason Galasinski, and with me, my co-host, Jim Dempsey.
Hey, Jason.
How are you today, Jim?
I'm doing great. It's a terrific day.
Well, we're already into October.
Can't believe it. Yeah, it's hard to believe. The year's just going by so fast.
Yeah. Well, we have a special guest joining us today, and I'm really excited about our audience meeting Christen Polo. Christen has been working for Protect Life Michigan for over 11 years, and just a huge advocate for life in that state. And I'm really excited to have her on the program because she went through the Perfect Vision in our mentorship program last year and really joined in the fall and had her very first Perfect Vision Dinner in the spring. And we got a lot of great, exciting things to announce about that. She went from $329,000 to $690,000.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Big increase. So Christen, I'm so excited to have our listeners get to meet you and get to hear your story. So thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
I would say Christen was one of what I would say are exceptional graduates in so many ways, just mindset, understanding, and just taking it to the next level. So thanks for being here, Christen.
Well, I'm excited to get into your story, and I thought maybe an appropriate way to start for our audience to learn more about Protect Life Michigan. So let's play for our listeners a little clip about what Protect Life Michigan is.
Today, over 90 children will lose their life to abortion in Michigan. Over 2,500 will do so across the United States. To be honest, the loss of unborn life is only getting worse. The pro-life movement is at a critical juncture. Abortion rates are rising. We're seeing losses on ballot initiatives across the country where people are enshrining the right to abortion in state constitution. Elections are being lost, and people are wondering if this issue will be a losing issue forever. Instead of talking about whether or not abortion should be allowed at all, we're relegated to talking merely about when abortion should be allowed.
We have groups of human beings throughout history that we have treated as different or other, sometimes based on their race or based on their religion. And we've done awful things to those people on that basis. With the unborn, it's their age.
We're talking about a violent procedure that either starves or dismembers a living human being.
Unfortunately, the voices advocating for unborn children have grown quieter in recent years, even as the number of unborn children losing their lives has risen. While some people are asking right now, what can we do to limit the harm of abortion? At Protect Life Michigan, we ask a different question. We ask what must be done to ensure no one ever experiences the violence of abortion ever again. This frame of mind is what's driving our impact. Every decision we make and everything we do, from what events we hold to who we hire to where we'll be doing our outreaches, is all driven by the question, what must be done to end abortion?
Protect Life Michigan's mission is to make abortion unthinkable in the state of Michigan by showing people the reality of what abortion is.
We will not tolerate violence as a solution to unplanned pregnancies.
But here's the thing. It's easy to say that we're doing something to end abortion. But at Protect Life Michigan, we see it differently. We have a grand vision to end the injustice of abortion forever, and a proven process and a plan on how to get there.
Our strategy at Protect Life Michigan is to expose college students to the reality of abortion and then have a conversation with them about that and try to change their mind. Those conversations make the challenge worth it.
What's beautiful about Protect Life Michigan is we're so good at training our students to be confident with talking to people about abortion, right? We speak truth with compassion.
We've proven what can be done on campus and in a community. we can change over 30% of people's minds on the issue of abortion. Young people are 2 to 5 times more likely to change their mind on the issue of abortion, which means they're a critical population for us to reach. But as long as there is still abortion in Michigan, we won't settle. We have plans to activate thousands across the state to spread the pro-life message. Recruiting on campus, digital outreach, events, full-time internships, we'll be seeing a mobilization of powerful advocates for the unborn child.
We know that when people understand what abortion really is, and then when they understand what the unborn are, that they're human beings, that hearts and minds change.
At Protect Life Michigan, we think we can win, and we have a proven strategy that works. We invite you to join us, becoming a partner in this fight to end abortion.
Wow, Christen, that was powerful. Really did enjoy that. It seems like your ministry is doing some incredible things in Michigan.
Yeah, it's been a blessing to be a part of this the last 11 years. And frankly, with the mentorship and teaching I've received from you guys the last year, I'm really excited to see what's ahead of us as well.
Yes. Yeah. I think getting the word out, and it's just more people understanding who you are. I think
there were so many
potential.
People at our vision dinner who said, I can't believe this is your 20th anniversary and we've never heard of you before
did I
tonight.
not hear this? Huh? Yeah.
That excitement was really exciting. And we don't want to be the best kept secret. We are trying to get the word out.
So true.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, let's go back a couple of years maybe and just describe to our listeners what your development journey has been like since you started at Protect Life.
When I started, I was fresh out of college. I had no idea what I was doing running a nonprofit, frankly. I was the organization's very first employee. So it was a rough road trying to learn all of this and figure it out from scratch by myself, but really have tried to be a humble learner and surround myself with people who know answers to questions that I'm asking. And so I think that got us a long ways. We actually started doing something similar to a vision dinner about 10 years ago. And it had been going fairly well, but was feeling the last couple of years it was a little bit stagnant, which is how I ended up connecting with you guys, looking to kind of refresh things.
Describe that feeling. Like, what do you mean by stagnant? Describe some of the emotions you were going through or some of the challenges. By
stagnant, I mean that it kind of felt like the same event every single year with the same people in the room. We weren't even confident that we were doing it the right way. And we just kept doing the same thing over and over and over again. And
you said you got some of your cues from the pro-life movement. And I know a lot of pregnancy centers have a methodology, right? So you were kind of copying some of that in. But why didn't you feel like you were doing things right? Like what made you feel that way?
I think after 9 years of doing the same thing and kind of seeing the same results, the same level of funding, we're looking to grow significantly. And one of the bottlenecks to being able to do that is funding. Yeah. So as we have this huge vision we feel the Lord has given us, we're trying to do everything we can to reach that vision. And there's a significant financial component to that.
Yeah. Did you see a plateau both in giving and attendance? Was that part of that stagnant?
I would say mostly in attendance.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
We were definitely struggling
so
there.
We did see financially? Oh, okay.
Some financial growth, but like I said, I think I just didn't have confidence that we knew what we were doing and that we were doing the best things.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. And what was, I know we saw some of it in the video, but what were some of the big milestones that you were that were burdening your heart that you felt like you couldn't get to the next level?
Yeah, we really feel that we need to be reaching more young people in the state of Michigan. We know that young people are 2 to 5 times more likely to change their beliefs about abortion. And we knew that we needed to be in more high schools, on more college campuses, reaching young people with the pro-life message and changing their minds. But there comes a cost with that, and sometimes a significant one. And so as we started to look into how can we branch into more high schools, give more presentation to schools throughout the state, or expand to new college campuses, do more training and equipping and deploying young people, we knew we needed to take things to the next level to be able to do that.
That's great. Yep, that's neat.
So how did you end up coming across Fundraising Masterminds, and what kind of piqued your interest in the Perfect Vision Dinner?
Yeah, I think I was originally connected with the podcast through Fundeasy, if I'm not mistaken. So I had used Fundeasy for many years, and I think that's how I knew of Jason, and then, watched some of the podcast episodes. And then I was just hooked, and I was like watching all of them, taking notes to try to just glean anything I could from these episodes. I even thought, maybe I don't need to sign up for this course. I'll just watch the videos about it. I was wrong. I needed the course. But, always trying to do things the cheap way first.
Now, think about it. There's probably another Christen out there watching the podcast right now, hearing you.
Yeah.
And now you've got the opportunity to impact that person. Get past it, huh?
Yeah, it's like truly just scratching the surface and the things that I heard. But, that was just one of the thoughts that was in my head that was holding me back from diving in.
You mean we don't share everything on this podcast with people?
There's
maybe
just
1%.
so much, There's just so much to share. Yeah,
Yes.
it's hard to get it all.
Yes,
So,
that's true.
Yeah. So you're listening to the podcast. You eventually ended up having a conversation with me, I believe. And then, the board approved the expense, and then you got signed up. Was it all roses from there? I mean, like, what was it like going through the program? Was it hard to make changes? What were some of the changes that you realized needed to be done?
Yeah.
Talk through that.
It was hard to make some changes at some points, but you guys do a great job setting us up for success by reminding us you need to trust the process. And even when you struggle, follow through. And I am very stubborn. So I knew I'm going to hold myself to that, and I'm going to do it even when I don't feel like it. and even when I question things, if I ever struggled with anything, I would ask, what's the rationale behind this? But I committed, to following through on everything. And I think the results that we saw really show how much that paid off.
Christen, I really sensed in you, and I think probably in a lot of others, there's a point where you have to just leave it to the Lord's hands. You invested in the program. You did hear from these guys, and there's a point where I just got to trust in the Lord.
So true.
And I know it really, in reality, there's a point where you're trusting in us, but you really trust in the Lord more, that He's going to provide. And we'll talk about this in a few minutes, but I know you hit some challenges along the way where you probably may have even said, wow, did I go the right way or not?
Yeah.
But it's neat to see you come out so well at the end.
It was great to be able to work with you guys, because you were a great reminder to trust God. And if I look back on this journey, that's one of the things that I'm most shocked by, is that I didn't have more trust in Him through. I mean, I just have been so blown away by how He has used our organization in these last few months. It's just been so remarkable.
Wow.
And I don't know why I ever doubt Him to do that. I certainly shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, His timing is much better than ours, isn't it? And He just has to take us through those journey.
Yeah. But you guys were a reminder that anytime I hit one of those hard points, you would remind me to take it to prayer, and would take it to prayer with me. And that was a huge blessing, because oftentimes that's the number one thing that we needed, was not action on my part, but just to trust God.
I've always, we say more than a few times, you've heard me say, I'm not smart enough to have gotten this program together. It's the Lord. So,
Well, Christen, I've got a specific post that you wrote that I thought you should read to the audience.
Okay.
See if this brings back some memories.
I know. Should we go there?
Yeah.
Name storming struggles. Do you have any recommendations for what to do? We have diligently followed up with our name stormers for weeks with no luck, despite coming up with hundreds of names in the parties. They are now either not returning our calls at all, or are so overwhelmed with other things that they're saying they're too busy to make the calls. We've probably called some people 4 to 6 times now to encourage them or see how things are going. We name stormed 580 names and have secured just 6 new table hosts from it. Wow. We're quite discouraged, since this is such a key part of the process. I've had a colleague calling them, but I thought about sending them an email myself to thank them, remind them of the importance, and encourage them that calls aren't scary. That's the only idea I have.
Wow. I think in there was a picture of you on the ledge of a building, getting ready to jump as you were typing.
Feel that way, yes. Did feel that way.
So where were you at in the, that was early on in the program, I remember, but what was going on?
Yeah, I think we had put so much stock in the name storming party being the thing that was going to make the difference for us. And so, because that was the main thing that we had never done before, one of the few key things. And so to have that, I mean, we came away from that party feeling amazing with almost 600 new names. And then, I know that it's scary to make phone calls. I understand that, but that was really reflected, I think, in the people who came up with those
Well, and
names.
for our listeners' perspective who don't know what a name storming party is, it's just one of the exercises that we do in the program to help people find the right people. So we always talk about the perfect vision dinner being that we're trying to help people find the right people and create, get them into the right place with the right program, with the right appeal, and all these things kind of working together creates the right environment, which then gives the Holy Spirit the opportunity to prompt their hearts, So we look at it as like, I've been using the analogy of the camp analogy a lot, to describe the perfect vision dinner. When you send your kids off to camp and they show up at this beautiful venue, the goal of the camp is to obviously get kids to reconnect with the Lord or reignite their faith, right? But you don't do that in the parking lot when they come out of the bus, right? You have to kind of set up an environment, to where the Holy Spirit can work and move. That usually takes a few days. So we kind of look at the perfect vision dinner as it's this 21-week journey that we take you on to kind of set up this environment where new partners can get introduced to your organization the right way, and then they can become converted, over to Protect Life Michigan for the first time, which in your case did happen.
It did
a lot, but it just
want to hear that
there was
more.
a little bit of a journey getting there, and this was the first kind of hiccup. Was we did the name storming, we got a lot of names, but then when it actually came to getting those people involved, that was not going so well. And
I remember a challenge.
So
I'd love to hear how you came out of it. That would be.
Well, it was interesting because we kind of had an emergency meeting, the three of us, and we talked about, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing wrong? And kind of went through the checklist. And I remember you, Jim, saying, it sounds like you're doing everything right. Have you taken this to prayer? And I was so convicted because, again, it goes back to what we were just talking about, that it really starts with trusting the Lord. But I did, I took it to prayer. I had several other people praying as well. And I think we really saw a breakthrough after that. There were other things that we tried, like my husband and I recorded like a little phone call video so people could see what that conversation might sound like as they call people. But, I'm not sure the little stuff like that really made a difference. I just needed to surrender it and trust. And we ended up, I think, probably about 70% of the people who were at our dinner were brand new, which was so exciting.
I love that.
And when we're talking about coming into this, we were kind of stagnant in our attendance specifically. So that number is really significant to us.
That's great.
Yeah, so
70%.
What was that number? Like how many people? I know you ended up doing 2 events. We'll talk about that on the next episode. We got another episode where we're going to go into that a little bit more with you. But like, what was the total amount of new partners? Total number of attendants and total number of new partners.
Yeah, our first night we had 375 guests attend, and the second night it was almost 500 guests in the room, which was incredible. And like I said, the vast majority of those were brand new, had never heard of us before.
So great.
And a lot of brand new table hosts who had, through the name storming parties, they had never been to a dinner before, but agreed because they trusted their friends to come and invite their friends.
And we get people saying that all the time. Why would somebody be a table host if they've never heard of the organization or never been before? Well, they will.
They will.
So neat.
That's awesome. So aside from the name storming was a big breakthrough. Were there other breakthroughs that as you went through the program, like with the accelerators or the appeal or any other portions of that?
All of it. There's not a thing that I can say was not game changing. And it's funny going into the course, I'm like, I don't know if this is really going to be worth the price tag, because there was so much I thought we were already doing that was similar to the model. So I thought, we just, there's a little few tweaks here or there, but boy, was I wrong. The tweaks that we did make made a huge difference. I think another one was, with the matching gift that we put together. That was a significant game changer as well. Putting that together, that was more money than I had ever tried to raise before, more than double. So it was a scary feat to go after, but that was another thing that the Lord just assembled in miraculous ways.
So neat.
A common theme that I often hear from people.
I was going to go there.
You're right. That it's kind of a David and Goliath thing, you know, like you go into the program thinking like, oh, it's not so bad. I got a slingshot. And then like Goliath comes out and you're just like, what in the world, you know? And then you're just sitting there. It's okay. We've slain a bunch of Goliaths before. We know how to do it, you know? And then, and they're just like, are you sure? He's pretty big, you know? And, you know, and it's just like, what were you going to say?
No, I was actually going to say the common theme that I hear is that, we're doing everything all right. We already know how to do this.
And that was me.
Yeah.
I thought
that would Jason hears that all the time.
Yeah.
Especially in the pro-life movement. I think a lot of pregnancy centers and pro-life organizations have been doing banquets for a while, and they feel like they have a rhythm. And I talked to some directors who are like, I've been the director for 25 years and we're on our 35th annual you know, banquet,
and 200,000 is just fine for us, you know, whatever. So.
Yeah, I totally understand that perspective, because that's where I was as well. And I'm just so grateful I trusted the process and jumped in completely, because like I said, some of the things we were doing, but there was so much new information that I did not know going into the course. And even the things that we were doing that we just slightly tweaked made a huge difference for us.
So good.
Not just in the funds raised, but the excitement in the room as well. I mean, we had rave reviews from this dinner that were far beyond anything we had heard before. People were so excited. They caught the vision. They really did. That's the heart of it. We communicated the vision better than we have ever done before, and people felt that.
That's great. Yeah. That is so great.
Which in a dark state like Michigan, we need.
But I love, the thread that you keep saying, which I love, is that everything caused you to trust the Lord.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not about us.
Faith.
You know, we're not asking you. It's not like Jason and Jim are awesome. You know, we need to just trust. We're not asking people to trust us.
Right.
We're like, I feel like we're just mirrors, you know, saying, no, you know, this is really about trusting God for big things. You know, we know like certain things that need to happen in order for the environment, just like a good camp director knows how to create an environment. But ultimately, it's like, it's the Holy Spirit that does all the work. And, you know, it's just all glory to God for what he did through you guys. And we're just very proud to see the results. So.
And something in my gut, just like it always has, tells me this is just the beginning for you.
Just the beginning.
It really
I
is.
hope so, because I feel like the plans God has given us are quite big.
Oh, I know.
So we got a lot ahead of us.
Something tells me there's a lot ahead. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Well, at some point, Crew was, you know, a $600,000 organization. Now it's a $750 million organization.
Right.
You had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And you got to see a lot of that.
Give it a couple years before you're the 750, but million.
Okay.
But Jim, you were around from the early days. I mean, what was it like? You know, do you remember?
Well, Moses and I were in the front row of Bible 101. We were taking it together, and Moses said, "I'm not clear of speaking," and I said, "Trust in the Lord, and we'll move forward on those things." But Jason, nobody needs to hear my old stories of Crew in the old days. But a lot of it was the same kinds of things, same kind of principles, trusting God. I worked for an amazing leader by the name of Bill Bright, who just always, there was never a time that he wasn't always far ahead of us in his faith. Let's believe God for the most impossible things. And he always seemed to come through.
Yeah, and we talked about this on, I don't know what episode it was, but we talked about this recently about how when it comes to development, there seems to be like kind of two attitudes or mindsets. There's the attitude of fear, which tends to come in the area of like control, people wanting to, they're like, I know how to do this. I've done this before. Or even when they're going through the program, they try to do everything themselves, or they just ask a lot of questions. Like sometimes when we see people asking like little questions,
a little bit.
like doubting, and but it's really rooted in like they're motivated by making a mistake. It's like, well, I don't want to like. It's like, well, I got to make sure that I do everything exactly perfect.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, you do need to do the steps, but it's not about like making mistake or like avoiding mistakes. That's kind of rooted in fear.
And sometimes you can get paralysis because
you're talking about me.
Paralysis by analysis.
But then there's the other side where it's like, really believing God for big things and like coming in with more of a David mindset with, God wants me to take ground. So I believe that he's going to use this program to help me take ground. And they kind of go into it with more of a roll up your sleeves and like, okay, let's go, and they're still, worried about doing things, making mistakes, but they have more of a faith-filled attitude.
Yeah, I think I was somewhere in the middle of those two things. Yeah. There was some fear and some apprehension and even a little bit of like, Jim always says he's done thousands of these dinners, but I've done 9. I know some things too.
There you go. Exactly.
But, I really did want to trust the process, and I have a lot of faith in you guys. And so even when it was hard, I followed through on, following the course to a T. Not diverting from that. And the Lord worked in that.
Before we started the show, one of the things that Christen said was that she's a systems girl, I think, if I got you right. Yep. And that's an important aspect, but really the bigger part is looking for real change within our partners to give them opportunities. Yeah. Your organization has always had opportunities. You've always had big plans, big ideas, big dreams, but it was getting it to those people, and it was actually finding that connection. Who are those people that are with us? Yeah. And this, I think, gave you a real opportunity.
And we really thought we were communicating our vision and our opportunities well, but through the course and through many conversations with you guys, I learned that we could do so much better. And we heard that over and over again this year, that it was so clear. The vision was clear. The needs were clear. What we were doing was clear. So like I said, even in the things that we thought, we're nailing it on this, there were still huge opportunities for growth.
Yeah. Well, Christen, I'm going to have, we're going to put some photos of your dinner on the screen, but while those are scrolling, describe like what the dinner was actually like.
It was incredible. There was an energy in both rooms that you could feel the joy from people. And I think some people have been to 9 dinners of ours before this, there was a marked difference, both in how dressed up the room was, the intentionality of the program. They loved the testimonies. I don't think we had ever done a live testimony before. They were all pre-recorded. So that was a big change. There was an incredible energy. Wow. And I still feel that now, months later.
Well, I want to take a step back and for our audience so that they understand, you do nothing simple. So from that standpoint, I mean, you didn't just do you did 2 separate cities. You didn't do them at the same time, but you did them back to back.
We did.
So it's tough enough to do 2 dinners. It's tough enough to do them back to back, but to do them in 2 different locations, that's enormous. And I think I want our audience to understand that, because that's not an easy feat, and God really used you in that way. So you had 2 different environments. You had a Grand Rapids environment. You had an East Lansing environment, but there was energy in both, right?
Yeah.
Maybe different
Very
in some
different
ways, but
rooms. I mean, the first night it's like almost 100% Protestant. The second night's almost 100% Catholic.
Wow.
So just very different in a lot of ways. Or Grand Rapids night 1, East Lansing night 2. But yeah, the energy was there in both rooms.
Good.
And it went great. There were things we learned night 1 that we tweaked for night 2 and saw a difference from that, but they went really well.
Yeah.
So you felt like the Lord just used the ministry update and the accelerators that we worked through. You felt like all that was very strong and resonated with people.
One of the things the course has us do is a dinner narrative, making sure everything comes together and the themes are seen throughout the entire event. And I think that was really felt on the night of by people. Everything connected, the testimonies, the ministry update from our executive director, all the way through to our keynote speaker and our financial appeal. All of it came together really, really nicely.
That's neat. When you were talking about clarifying things a little bit without getting too much into the weeds, the difference, what made it different? Was when you'd been doing it the previous years, had you been just putting out a sort of a broader ask? And this time, I mean, maybe kind of unpack what clarity. Yeah.
Our financial appeal was very different than this was. I think the needs that we had and the opportunities for what people could partner with us to do were much clearer. I think our program was quite long and we really tightened it up. We added that element of live testimonies from several people. That really made a difference. There were so many things we did. We always had our event underwritten, so it was free to attend, but really heavily highlighted corporate sponsorships and that sort of thing. Pivoted away from that, introduced a matching gift. There were so many aspects. We did a giveaway to each table.
Neat.
People were very excited about that, which was really
Isn't
great
it
to see.
funny how, we just, it's just free things.
There's a lot of little things.
If my memory serves me right, you did something, though, that really brought life to the event. If I'm right, didn't you have a training class or something that was getting ready to start, and you opened that up and launched that, and which to me was just like, okay, reach right into that chest and grab that heart and touch people.
Our dinners lined up perfectly with the launch of our summer internship program. We were that same weekend while we were together in this room for our vision dinners, we were having, I think, 26 interns move into housing to radically change a community's beliefs on the life issue. And we showed photos of them on the screen and said, here is an opportunity to partner with us to come alongside these interns for the summer and help them change this community. And we did actually have someone step up and sponsor that entire summer program, which was the greatest opportunity we shared that night. It was pretty incredible.
That is so neat. One of the principles that we always teach is people give to people justified by the cause. And you took that. You took those faces, those kids, and turned that into opportunities for people to give. And that's exactly what you need to do.
Wasn't that when you were like texting me this summer? You're like, you won't believe this. I just got a check for, what was it, like 50,000?
We did even higher than that. There were so many stories that came out of these vision dinners like that. And being able to meet with people over the last few months and hear how excited they were to partner with us, it's just incredible to be a part of.
That's
it really
what
is.
we're talking about. Transformational giving.
It is.
We just did a whole episode. We're going to get this out to Winter Circle soon, but we did a whole episode on the journey of the faithful steward and how it's our job as development directors to help people understand how they can exercise their calling, like what they've been called to do in their heart through your organization. Because not everybody can do what you are doing, but they still have a heart for doing what you want to do. So,
because a lot of people act as donors and they kind of tip you. But transformational giving, when we can take them over to that next level, when they become partners with you, they own the mission with you, and they see that their desires are being met through your mission. That's that sweet spot.
I think today we've talked a lot about little tweaks and changes we've made to specific things, a lot of system stuff.
Right,
I like
which
that.
you love,
But I really think what you just said is the heart of what we saw this year with our vision dinners is we saw a change in that regard, that people understand we do value them as partners and we see them as partners in this ministry. I think that was felt, and there's an excitement that comes with that, not just from our team, who's clearly so grateful, but I think they're excited to be a part of what we're doing as well.
And that... I don't want to diminish as a leader of a nonprofit and as someone in ministry how revolutionary that is. When people say, how can fundraising or development be ministry? That's how it's ministry. You are, when we see someone come to Christ, make a decision of faith to come to Christ, that's life-changing. But when you see them understand how they can fulfill God's mission for their lives, through their work, through their giving, that's also transformational, and that's ministry.
Yeah.
So that's neat.
Wow, that's amazing, Jim. Well, since the dinner, I know there's we've talked a lot about, what happened and how great the dinner was, but you raised almost double what you expected to raise. I think your goal was somewhere around 300,000 or 400,000, if I remember, and you raised close to 690,000. So that's even like you're laughing because it's like, did that really happen? But what has happened since then? Like,
and it was more than just the money. It's the what happened because you got the money.
Exactly.
What share with us some stories of impact that has happened.
Incredible. I mean, while I'm here with you, we have events going on in Michigan that would not have been possible if it weren't for the infusion of support that we received through the Vision Dinner. There is such a gift in being able to go forward in ministry ministry work for the coming year, knowing that every crazy vision God has given you for the coming year is fully funded. So we're expanding to new campuses that we didn't anticipate being able to expand to. We do an incredible 3-day training where brand new students come in, they get trained for 3 days and then deployed to communities to change people's minds. And we're doubling that event. We're able to do 2 of them for the very first time. And then our summer internship, we've had 26 interns living together in housing, going door to door, talking to people, doing street outreach, getting some of the best training in the world. And it's been incredible. I mean, there's been babies who have been saved. There's stories. There was one sweet story of a girl who knocked on an attorney's door. And he said, I know what I think about this issue, and I can tell you that a 17-year-old girl is not going to change my mind. But a 17-year-old girl did change his mind.
How neat.
And I mean, we have countless examples like that of the difference that these young people are making.
How neat.
It changes them. You know, the future of their lives will be impacted by what they're a part of, but the ripple effects are being felt in this entire community in Metro Detroit that's being changed as well.
Oh, I don't want to presume anything, but some of the things that I will hear oftentimes, which really warms my heart, is when board members will say, board meetings are different now. We used to worry how we were going to make the next payroll. Now we're planning for the future. Did you see any of that, either with your leadership team, with your board, anything now where they dream big dreams now where they didn't before?
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's interesting. It takes some time for the skeptical folks to get on board, not necessarily with our board of directors, but even staff members who are like, oh, these visions we have are pretty big. Are we sure about it? I'm at times one of those skeptical people, but I am seeing over and over again what God is doing in us and through us. And every time that happens, it increases your faith and you're ready for the next big thing, whatever it is.
Neat.
Now, what about the next dinner? Are you seeing people, because this happens a lot too, you know, you take the Vision Dinner course, you have a good success, and then as you get closer to planning your next dinner, then people are like, well, maybe that was just like a one-time fluke. Maybe it's not possible to do that again. You know, have you had any of that resistance?
Or if I'm going to guilt you or fear you into anything, I'm going to fear you into sophomore slump. I don't want you having a sophomore slump.
I don't think I'm going to.
Good.
Do you think I'm going to?
No, I do not. But I'm going to still plant that little seed in there for you. Good. Good.
No, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't heard I mean, I feel like the excitement is still there months later, that everyone's ready to see what the future holds. And we've had a lot of people already reach out and say they want to be a table host next year who have not hosted before. So
you got a third city in mind?
Oh my goodness. That keeps getting brought up. I don't know. I mean, we do need to eventually move towards the east side of the state.
Maybe the fall, potentially.
It is Protect Life Michigan.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So in 2 weeks, we're going to be talking with you about that exact thing. We're going to be talking about how you can use Perfect Vision Dinners to create a movement. And that's really ultimately, you know, what your ministry is all about, right?
That's right.
You're not about, you know, changing the thought in one city, but ultimately
changing
one state,
the entire state,
which
the
requires,
entire world.
Yeah. And then hopefully once you get done one state, we're going to move to another state, possibly. I know we're focused on Michigan, but like,
you have to talk to my board about that.
Bill Bright started with "Come help change the world," and that's maybe that is a modification of where,
board members,
where we're headed,
listening?
where you're headed.
Well, we've got our work cut out for us in Michigan right now.
You do.
We do.
Yep.
Well, I'm looking forward to that next conversation for sure.
Me too.
And Christen, it's been just a joy to see how the Lord has used you and increased your faith. And it's been just a great privilege to be able to guide you through that process. So thank you for trusting Jim and I through that process. So
thank you.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, if anyone here is listening and you're like, wow, this Perfect Vision Dinner course sounds amazing. Christen, what would you say to maybe a pregnancy center director or just any director, right, who's involved in ministry, maybe a Christian camp or a Christian school or a CEF, anyone who's sitting there going, you know, I think if I just, you know, Christen said a bunch of points there. They're writing them all down.
No,
like, okay, I'm not going to do underwriting. I'm going to do this. She said not to do that. Do this. I could just see a bunch of people just saying like, I don't need to spend money on this. Do I?
You do.
Yeah.
We are only scratching the surface of everything that can be learned through this course. And I know I probably had a lot of the same hesitations that many other people do. It was more money than I had ever invested in myself and in professional development before. I thought I could just learn what I could from the podcast and get by with that. But the course provides value from the second you first log on, when you have every single tool and resource and script and how-to guide right at your fingertips. And then you have the ongoing mentorship, being able to ask experts every single week, whatever questions that come up. I mean, I can't even begin to describe how valuable this was, not just in learning how to do the dinner, but even beyond that, shifting my perspective about fundraising and friend-raising and doing ministry work with excellence. I'm telling you, it's worth every penny. You have to do it. Sign up. Don't wait.
Man.
And not only, and really the perfect vision dinner is just the starting point. That's the part that a lot of people don't understand is the perfect vision dinner is actually the qualifying course to the winner's circle, which now you are in.
I am.
And that's the 3-year program where we take you from level to level to level. So hopefully by the end of the 3 years, you're going to be well over $1 million a year through your vision dinner. I'm looking forward to seeing what God does through that. But that's more the coaching. Like the perfect vision dinner is really focused on the practical, 21 weeks of how to plan and execute vision dinner. It's very focused in on the vision dinner with, it has a begin, it has an end, it has results. So it's almost a no-brainer because it is a no-brainer, right? I mean, it pays for itself. So
It does.
it pays for itself 10 times over, I think. And
the fact that you have scripts and guides and examples for every single step of the process, that saved us so many hours of work.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Great.
And and now what we're doing in the winner's circle is being able to zone in on more of the development things, some of that mindset of how do we develop the partners that you now have. You had 60 to 70% new people. So now we can focus on how do we build those relationships? How do we build friendships? How do we
Where do we go from
deepen?
here?
Yeah. And it's really just the beginning. Yeah. So there's so much more ahead. And I wish we could just matrix download it into your head, but it takes time to get it there. But if you've been listening to this and you're like, all right, how do I sign up for the Perfect Vision Dinner Mentorship Program? Good news is that we are 3 weeks away from the next program starting. We do 2 cohorts a year. We do one in the fall, which is coming up in October 27th. That's when it's starting. Deadline for enrollment is the 24th. And so really that's going to be focused on vision dinners for the spring. And then we do another one starting in May to train for vision dinners in the fall. So if you've been listening to the episode today and you're like, how do I get started? Scan the QR code that's on the screen or click the link in the description below or in the chat. That will take you to a place where you can fill out a quick application and get on a call with one of our team members, and they'll walk you through whether or not the program is a good fit for you. But for most people, it is a good fit. And for most of you, we can't wait to start working with you, this fall. So definitely check it out. Enrollment is filling up quick. We usually do fill up, by around this time. So don't wait on it. And I know that a lot of you have to get, board approval and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you leave time, to talk to your board and get all that worked out. It's not something you can just sign up for, 2 minutes before the program starts. But just know that Jim and I, we do this twice a year, and we cannot wait to work with you and help take you to the next level, just like we helped Christen. Well, Christen, thank you for taking the time to join us on today's episode.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's been great. And thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know in the chat below. What did Christen say that just really got you thinking? Let us know in the comment section. And also, please subscribe because we got a lot of great content coming out soon. Well, thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Take care.